understand me now. If sometimes you see that I'm mad, don't you know no one alive can always be an angel? When everything goes wrong, you see some bad. But I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. understand me now. If sometimes you see that I'm mad, don't you know no one alive can always be an angel? When everything goes wrong, you see some bad. But I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be
Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, B?
What's up, Brett?
Welcome, everyone, again on this Friday night, 9 p.m. to Theoretically Speaking Live. I just want to say thank you for everyone that's watched before and is continuing to support and maybe learn and pick up a thing or two along the way. So we have another 45 minutes with a very special guest, to Vicky in particular. But before we get to that, I want to ask everyone to don't forget to follow us, of course, on YouTube, subscribe at Next Theory, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and Kumo, where it's being simulcasted live. So, without further ado, I think it's time to introduce our next guest for Theoretically Speaking Live this Friday.
Thanks, Brent. So this person is so dear to my heart. I remember when I was growing up in Manila, I was so shy to go out, and I was always like the youngin, trying to catch up with all the older cool people. And I remember when I posted a Notorious B.I.G. quote on my Facebook page, and she commented on it and said, "Come out, Young G." And that felt like an invitation to like go out and hang out with her. And it was the beginning of my time in nightlife and going out and meeting people in Manila. And she also happens to be my cousin. But in terms of a more formal introduction,
who's manning this whole thing for us right now?
What was that? That sounded like But in terms of a more formal introduction, I'd like to introduce to you my cousin, Erica Paredes. So to give you a brief background, Erica moved from Manila to Paris 5 years ago to pursue a dream of being a chef. Right, girl? After attending Le Cordon Bleu, she received her diploma in cuisine and certificate in pastry in 2016. And she started a supper club in her apartment in 2018, which then progressed into private dinners and finally pop-ups in restaurants around Paris from 2019 to present. She is currently doing takeaways in a rented kitchen in Paris under her brand, Reina. So Erica plans to stay in Paris, where she mixes French and Filipino flavors and techniques in her cooking, and is determined to make adobo a household name in Paris. What's up,
has to be. Hi!
Hey, Erica, I've been waiting all day to say bonjour, so I just need to say that real quick.
Oh my gosh.
It's bonsoir for you guys over there. It's nighttime.
True.
Bonsoir, Erica.
So, how long have you been in Paris again?
It'll be 5 years in 3 weeks, actually.
Wow. So do you speak French already?
My French is...
français?
No, it's still super terrible. Like, I can understand French and I can get by. Like, I can go to the police station, I can go to the doctor, whatever. But then with my friends, even my French friends, they just know I refuse to speak in French. I'm just so shy. Like, my accent is so bad that people keep asking, what did you say? What did you say? Even if I said the exact, like, correct sentence or whatever. So I'm just like, you know what, forget it. I'm switching to English and I speak French when I have to. Like, if the person in front of me does not speak English at all, but otherwise I don't. It's embarrassing because my daughter's been here way shorter than me, just like, I want to say like 2.5 years, and she is fluent.
Wow.
Like,
That's dope.
she fights people in French and it's crazy.
That's dope. When we were talking about bringing you on the show, a lot of people here in Manila know you for your past life, right? When you were still a makeup artist and a magazine editor, and there goes the receipts.
So why is it so long? Put it back to us. Present time.
You want to go through the screen and be like, go back to the frame.
I know.
Like, that's 8 years ago, but right?
I was trying to cover like a picture.
I mean, that's definitely how I know you. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not embarrassed by it. I just don't like that particular picture.
So I remember, like, back in the day when I met you and when Brent met you, you were still a makeup artist, and you evolved your journey into also being a journalist and editor. and that sort of thing right here in Manila. And also you were
Yeah.
promoting events, you were doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
What made you decide to move, leave that all behind and then move to Paris and have that transition?
Oh my God. How long do you have? Just kidding. 45 minutes?
Hold
One
on.
question. No, I mean, to be honest, like it seemed like a quick decision, but I think it was something that took years. It was like years in the making, you know? Like I felt I was a bit like tired of what I was doing before. Like I was doing it for so many years already, over a decade. I felt like I wasn't being challenged anymore. It's not that I didn't like it, but I was just bored already. I wanted to do something else, and like cooking was always there. And actually, in my 20s, I had the chance to already come to Paris and go to culinary school. uh, I was asked by my family, and I was just like, at that time, I was like, I don't want to be a chef. Like, I just like cooking. And little did I know, 15 years later, I'd end up coming here anyway. Um, but yeah, like, it actually started out with me going through a really bad depression, like, really, really bad. It lasted a couple of years, and I was a high functioning, like depressive person with anxiety. Like I was doing well at work, I was going out, I was seeing people, but I was also sleeping like 3 hours a night. I was working out obsessively as well. I had like really bad like eating habits. Like everything was just bad. And you could like I could tell I couldn't tell for a long time that it was bad until maybe like a couple years later, and then I started seeing a therapist and started realizing that I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like I was feeling stuck like where I was. And even then it took me still another year and a half to finally decide to do this because I didn't think it was an option. It was such a crazy thing at 35 to move to another country and go back to school.
Yeah, that's definitely a very bold move to get yourself unstuck. What were some of the struggles transferring to another country? Because I mean, all of us have that a little bit in common. So how do you find your rhythm when you move to? Well, how did you particularly find your rhythm moving from Manila to Paris? Like, what was it for you that made it think like, okay, I'm gonna be okay here. This is the right move. What was it for you?
Well, I think I was lucky because I came here for school. So I met a lot of really good people at Le Cordon Bleu. Like a lot of my good friends now were my friends from culinary school. Unfortunately, a lot of them went back to their countries. They're not here anymore, but we keep in touch a lot. So I think like compared to other people who move to another country and like completely don't know anyone and spend months and months like looking for friends, I basically had instant friends like within a month, and that made it so much easier for me. But also at the same time, I was in this school bubble, so it was really after school when everyone started leaving, I started my internship and I started working, that I started really feeling like, oh my god, I live here and I'm by myself, like. And when I started the supper clubs, I think is when I really started feeling like I live here, I'm meeting people, I'm making friends on my own. So it took a while, but I was eased into it pretty comfortably, consider like all things considered. So
You didn't get homesick or anything like that?
no, I think by the time I left, I was so ready to leave Manila. I still don't miss it. I mean, I miss Manila to visit, but I don't miss living there anymore. I used to miss my daughter before she moved here. I think that was the only thing that I was constantly like missing when I moved here. But then once she moved here, I felt like my life is complete again. Like I was working on my career and my daughter was here, so I was mom again, and it was just nice. So I do miss the Philippines a lot for like food and friends and family, but not really to live like daily life anymore. Even if it is easier in so many ways to live in the Philippines compared to here, I don't know. Like, I still prefer it for now. We'll see. Ask me again in 5 years.
So when it comes to the culinary scene in the Philippines and in Paris, what do you think are the major differences?
You know what? I read this question when it was sent to me, and I I thought about it, and to be honest, I can't give my opinion on that because I've never worked in the Philippines in this field. I I was a consumer. I was a client when I was there. I have no idea. So I was really thinking like, should I answer this question? I don't know. I mean, I have so much respect for the chefs over there. I follow a lot of cooks in the Philippines, and I love what everyone's doing over there. And I love how they're bringing in, more modern fine dining and experimental like Filipino food or Filipino inspired food over in Manila right now. But I I still feel like an outsider over there in that sense because I've never worked there, so I don't know. I would like to do something there at some point.
I can't wait till you do.
Yeah.
You're right. When you actually put it like that, it's because here, when I said earlier, right, like they knew you as an editor, they knew you as like a makeup artist. Let's not bring
Yeah.
back that picture, okay? She's gonna get mad
No
at us.
more.
Bring it back
Yeah.
up. One more time.
Right, no, she's gonna get mad at us. But that was your identity, and then you moved to another country and kind of like reinvented yourself, and then you forged a new path for yourself.
Yeah.
When it does come to cuisine in the Philippines, what do you miss?
I miss, like it's weird because people think, oh, you're a cook, you can cook anything. But sometimes, like, I miss things cooked specifically by certain people.
That
It's
makes
not necessarily like the best, like, technically not the best. I've had better food, but like, I want the arroz caldo that my mom's cook would make when I was younger.
yeah.
I want the
beats
baked
home cooking.
spaghetti that they would make at home. That's kind of sweet, but then like I would never cook it that way. But I love it when they make it. So I miss things like that, and I miss Pancake House fried chicken, and I miss Shakey's Angus Steakhouse pizza, like stupid things like that. I miss so much. It's a lot of these little things that I have a lot of sentimental and nostalgic feelings towards that I miss the most. And probably good, reasonably priced Japanese food.
And fish balls, because you said you housed like about
Yeah.
a million last time you were here, right?
Yeah, and fish
It's
balls.
those small comforts. But
Yeah, it's those things that I miss a lot.
talk
Or
about.
when you're
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, or when you're drunk and you go to like mini stop for chicken, or
Yeah, mini stop fried chicken is so good.
yeah.
It's the
I
best.
had to throw that in there because who doesn't do that? You're saying, Brett?
Yeah. Talk about being an introvert, the misconceptions, and maybe the things that you find difficult to deal with.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. People don't think I'm an introvert because, to be honest, like, I can be, it was part of my old job to be friendly to people.
PR.
I mean, you guys know how it is in
Yeah.
that industry. Like, you have to, I'm not saying I was fake, but I can do it. Like, I can be genuinely nice to people, but I also get very tired when I have to do that. I don't like small talk. I don't like the whole like, hi, how are you? But like nobody really cares how you're really doing and stuff. So I guess I deal with it by disappearing a lot. Like I retreat a lot. Like I can go to a party, I can go to an event, I can go to a dinner, talk to people, be super like friendly, yeah, whatever. And then I go home and no one hears from me for like 3 days.
Have you
'Cause
converted that into cooking? So like you're talking about your past life as editor, but like in a lot of ways too, when you're in the industry you're in, do you also use the same skills that you got from being an editor and doing makeup?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in some ways, I think in the more social aspect, yes. Um, I mean, because right now I'm like a one man operation. So aside from doing the cooking, I'm also answering all the messages, taking orders, doing everything. People come pick up, like you talk to them and stuff. Like I genuinely do like meeting people and talking to people, but sometimes when like I prefer smaller groups. like just a few people where you can actually have a conversation with everybody. I feel that when I'm in the middle of too many people, I think that's why I drink. I just like go find a drink and like get drunk so I don't have to listen to everybody and I can just like have fun. But sorry, I'm going off topic. But yeah, going back to that. Yeah, I think so. I think like people have asked me before, like, isn't it so weird coming from writing and doing makeup and cooking? And I said, not really if you think about it, because it's all um, like creative outlets, I guess. I mean, cooking for me, it's become a business. Yes, it's work. Yes, but at the end of it, like the core of it for me is still being creative and like I like using my hands to make things. So in that sense, yes, I guess it's there's a lot of similarities.
I was gonna ask, apart from being a creative, what are the best lessons you learned from your life in media and in makeup that you brought over to the culinary world?
Be nice to everybody because you don't know who you're gonna see again in the future and stuff.
Really, Erica?
Um, I mean, for me, um, not in a fake way. I'm not saying be fake, but like just be. I think that's one thing that was hard for me back then is I felt a lot of people weren't being real, and I was searching for that in that industry, and I did find my circle of friends that were like real people that I had like real friendship with. Um, I'm trying to think what other lessons. Well, one thing that I kind of let go of is the whole image thing. Like I don't really give a like I super don't give a fuck anymore what I
That's
look like. Not that I don't give a fuck, but I live in hoodies now and sneakers and sometimes I see like on Time Hop like the things I used to wear and I'm like, man, that looks so uncomfortable. Or and people would like you don't repeat outfits, like you have to get something new made or you buy something for every party you go to and I'm just like, my God, I'd be so rich now if I didn't spend all my money doing that. And I have like I wear the same. I have like three of these black hoodies, and I have a closet full of hoodies in different colors and beanies um, and jeans and sneakers. Like basically the opposite of what I looked like 5 years ago. It's crazy. So in that sense, I've learned to let go of that, which I'm super happy about because I don't spend all my time thinking of
What's
things that aren't that important anymore, I guess. Uh, I don't
can
know.
I
You're
can
putting
I
me on
ask
the spot.
a random question? Like people say that Parisians are snobby, um, but you've let go of like you know the image that you used to hold when you were in Manila. Are they really like snobby and do they look at you in a certain way because of that?
Mm, no, you know, you'll actually be surprised. Like the people that you see here that are like super decked out and dressed to the nines in heels are not from here. There are people
Oh,
visiting who think that they have to look like that when they come to Paris. So you see that during Fashion Week. You see that, like a lot of like the rich tourists on Champs Elysees and stuff like that. But like for people who like live here and like everyone's in sneakers, everyone's. I think here they're more minimal. They go for quality. They go for things that aren't too like showy. So like an outfit could actually be nice, but it's all in the details, and it's actually for like from like a kind of like cult brand that like only the cool kids know, and like to any other person it might look like just a plain outfit, but like they see the little things that you do with your outfit. So but like any I think like anywhere you go, it depends on your group of people and it depends on what industry you're in as well. My boyfriend's in fashion, so he's not super flashy with the way he dresses, but like he takes off his coat and it's Givenchy and he wears this like everything's like branded, but it's very simple looking. Like he wears all black and gray all the time. He still wears hoodies and sneakers, but he's way more into that stuff than I am because he's still in that. So I think it depends. Like a lot of people not from Paris say that people from Paris are snobby, but I guess in the same way, like some Manila people can be mean to people from the provinces.
Yes.
It's the same thing. So, but people here, to be honest, can be. There's annoying people anywhere you go, but most people here can be pretty nice.
But in general, they're not snobby like everyone, the stereotype that basically people have of
No,
people.
I've met some super annoying people, but then I've met annoying people in the States, in the Philippines, everywhere. So it's just,
Yeah. So we could talk about that for a while, but
I
we're gonna
know, we should stop now.
I would stop now before we say too much about the last 10 years. But anyway, um, explain French and Filipino fusion, because that's kind of what you're doing now, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I've been cooking since way before, like obsessively cooking. And then so I finally decided to do something about it. And I came here. And in the beginning, so I learned all the like classic French techniques. And then I worked in like French restaurants. And there was a time when I knew I didn't want to work in restaurants. Like, I mean, I was older as well. And I kind of had a plan already. But I needed to go through all that experience first to just get a feel of what I was doing. Like I am not into like going to culinary school and then coming out of it and saying I'm a chef now. Like no, you're not. You just like left school. You have no experience. So I needed to get that experience. And then I started the supper club, and in the beginning I was only doing French food because I felt like that's what people like, or that's what people would accept. And I think like maybe 6 months into the supper club, I started incorporating like Filipino flavors or ingredients into the dishes, and people were responding really well. And I realized that I can't like, and I think this is true for any career that you're in, any job that you have, is that if you don't put your roots, or if you don't put yourself into what you're doing, then people are never going to respond to it in the way that you want them to, because they can see that it's not like it could be just anyone else cooking that. But then when you put yourself in it, people see that,
Yeah.
and I started getting noticed more when I started putting my roots and myself into my food, and not just doing all this technical stuff that I knew how to do. And so putting Filipino and French together, it could be something like, sometimes I'll think of like, a French dish, and I was like, oh man, this would be really good if I added coconut milk or lemongrass to this, and oh, I could do this. And there's some dishes that are similar to each other that if you just change it a little bit, it's more, for Filipinos it's more French, for French people it's more Asian. So it works in a lot of ways, and those subtle differences like make a big difference. So I started doing all of that. I still do like plated, like more fine dining stuff, like for private dinners. But for Reina, which is the brand I go under, I do more like comfort food and street food. So I'm doing like fried chicken, like chicken wings with like adobo flavor. So it has like an adobo glaze and garlic yogurt sauce. So it's like all the flavors of adobo in like one bite of food. Um, or like I'll do like chicken thighs with gravy, but then I'll do like a sinigang gravy. So it's like a coconut milk based tamarind gravy. So you get all the flavors that you're used to, but it's just kind of like modernized or like updated, I guess. So that's what I'm doing.
So that's pretty much how you discover your new flavors. But every artist has their downs. When this happens, how do you stay on top of it, and how do you re-inspire yourself?
First, I cry. I let myself have a nice big cry. I probably go through half a day of like feeling sorry for myself and bugging my boyfriend.
That's what I love about you, because you've never been ashamed to do that. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I have to. It's like
yeah. You've
It's
been so
almost
vulnerable with that.
I think you just have to be, like you can't pretend that things are good all the time because they're not gonna be. And I think there was a time when like I've had people in my life say, you're so negative. Like you're always just like mad about something. I was like, no, the thing is with me, if something bothers me, I'll like complain about it. And 2 seconds later, I'm okay. It's better than like keeping everything inside you and then like exploding one day and nobody knows what's wrong with you.
Mm.
So I've learned to do that. Like if I'm like I actually tell because my boyfriend is we're very different. He's not as emotional as me. He's a problem solver. So if I tell him something, he thinks he has to solve it. And I'm like, no, no, no. So sometimes I'm just like, wait, can I cry? And I just want to cry. You don't have to do anything. I just feel like, So he'll be like, okay. And then I'm there like, ah. And then after that, I think of a plan. Okay, like what can I do? This and that. And at the end of the day, if I can't think of a solution at the moment, I go to the kitchen and I just cook something. And
Nice.
that kind of helps me not think of my problems, but at the same time solve the problems by not thinking about them. And I know I'll find a solution later. But
It's
there's
usually
drama before there's always the drama before it gets calm and before I go back to being an adult. I kind of like don't know what to do with myself for a while. So yeah.
that's your therapy. It's like you have
Mm.
that moment where you need to feel your feelings as much as you can, and then
Yeah.
you heal it by channeling your emotions into actually cooking something, and then by the time the meal is done, you've sort of figured out your solution.
Yeah. Sometimes what I do is like I cook things. People ask, what do you do when you're not cooking? Like, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, cooking. I still cook, but I cook things that I'm not selling, that aren't on like the menu. So for me, therapy or like relaxing is cooking things that I've had in my mind that I haven't had time to actually cook. So I'm like recipe testing at home, and I do things that have nothing to do with my brand that I probably will never sell to people under Reina, because I do like other kinds of food. Like I make my own pasta at home,
That's so
like
cool.
things like that. Like it's
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 part of your
also
creative
it's
process.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
still very relaxing for me. To it's weird. Like I'm taking a break next week for a week, from the restaurant. And I was talking to Carlos, the guy I share a kitchen with, and he's like, "What are you doing next week?" And I was like, "I don't know. Maybe the first 2 days I'm just gonna sleep, and then maybe I'll come here and like test some recipes." He's like, "You're gonna come here and cook?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, because I'm not pressured to deliver orders or anything. It's just me, like kind of, And if I come up with something good, maybe it'll be on my next menu.
That's dope. You're
Hmm.
kind of like still experimenting with new things
Yeah.
and what could
It's
work.
almost, yeah. And well, one other thing to go back to the question earlier, I also have a therapist that I see once a week. So that kind of helps me. There's days when I literally sit there and I'm just like rambling and I'm like, I'm sorry, I really have no problems right now. I'm just telling you about my life.
Here, try this. What do you think of this? What do you think of this dish?
So, it's and I told her, I was like, it's crazy. It's like if I can't cook, I almost feel like my life is incomplete for the day. Like there's not a day goes by that I don't cook, even a small thing. And it's almost like it's my drug, Like I don't do any of that stuff, but like I'm addicted to the whole process from start to finish. Like I have an idea in my head and I need to see it in front of me. Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, it's and when it works out the way I see it in my head, I'm like so happy. I sound crazy right now.
No, you
No.
sound happy, which is
You sound
which is great to
happy.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
In your career right now, what do you find the most fun?
I think coming up with recipes and also seeing people eat my food. I love watching people's expressions when I think that's the hardest part about COVID. Like it's okay for because I'm doing deliveries now, so it's working out okay. But what I can't see is how I get texts like it was really good, and that's nice. It's always nice to hear. They send pictures of the food, but it's different to be like in the kitchen, in an open kitchen in a restaurant, and seeing the people outside or them coming to you after their meal and saying that they had a great time. And I think, like it makes everything worth it because the people don't see how hard it is behind the scenes. Like it's so tiring. We're working like 15-hour days. We're prepping like amounts of food that a regular home cook can't imagine 20 kilos of meat, like, but that's what we're doing. So it takes such a long time. So it's almost like a reward for us to see that, like just to know that, okay, sleepless nights and being tired and my back hurting, it's not a waste of my time. Like there's actually somebody enjoying the food. So I think that's, for me, it's the best part of
And
everything.
would you consider that your most exciting moments, or is there something else that falls under that category from your career as being a chef? Like, what are your accolades that you're proud to like tell everyone? Is it just watching people enjoy your food, or
I think watching people enjoy my food, especially people from my industry. Like when I see other cooks like ordering for me and enjoying the food and like really really liking what I cook, I really like that. It's almost like because I started so late in this career and completely started from scratch. Even if I was cooking before, it's different. I mean, in Paris, like French techniques, French, it's just on another level from any other place in the world, I think. So I think in a way the appreciation that you get from other chefs is such a big deal as well. Um I don't know, like for me, like people have been like, "Oh, you live in Paris. Do you want to do this? Do you want to get a Michelin star?" And I mean, it's never been it's never been the reason for me to do this. And I'm not saying that I don't appreciate, like I worked in a Michelin restaurant before. I know the work that goes into that kind of cooking and that kind of, it's really 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 tiring, and the level of skill and everything. But I think that if, like my dad used to always tell me growing up, don't chase money, like chase your dreams, and everything else good that comes with it, money, awards, recognition, whatever, it'll come once you chasing your dream and you're happy doing what you're doing. Going back to what I said earlier, people recognize when you're putting yourself in what you do and when you're happy doing what you're doing. So I think that the whole point isn't to get recognition or the awards. It's really to be happy with what you're doing and to make, even if it's just like a handful of people like happy with what, what makes you happy as well. It's like sharing the happiness with everybody else. I think that's the best reward. That sounds so cheesy, disgusting, but like it
Sounds
is. Like it's,
commercial.
I know it's so gross, but it's true. Like it sounds. It says don't work for money. I'm not saying don't work for money. Like you
I was
need to
even
make
gonna
money.
say, I saw that team who wrote that. That is an incomplete thought.
No, you have to. No. Put value in yourself and make that money.
You are
But do
twisting
it.
Erica's words.
Do it doing something that you love, where you really feel like you're giving something of value to people.
yeah, perfect. That's the complete sentence. It's
Like
what you
make it
value.
really long on the screen.
Yeah, you have to add all the whole. I'll talk to them after. Then people start writing that here in media, and then they link.
Yeah, I think that's better. If people will be like, Erica said don't work for money. Everyone starts working for free.
Erica Paredes said, "Don't work."
I know, don't work.
What do you think is your signature dish? If someone were to go to you or your restaurant or to order takeout right now, what would be the one thing you would recommend?
Fried chicken, chicken
Dude.
wings. Like seriously, like it was so weird. I was talking to this other chef. So there's this other chef here who is the head chef of a restaurant, like a really good bistro here in Paris. And since everything's closed, he's been going around on his bike delivering taco kits. And so he got wings for me the other day, and I was just like, man, there's days when I'm just like, this is so crazy because I came all the way to Paris and I'm selling chicken wings. Like people are buying my fried chicken. And he's like, yeah, I'm selling taco kits. Like, but it's like, it's almost weird that this is what people want from us right now.
Mm.
And there's my that's the adobo fried chicken right there. So it's like a little bite of adobo. Like you taste all the flavors of it, but it's in fried chicken form. So it's like the best of both worlds, I guess. Um, so I would say now, if anyone here watching is from Paris, fried chicken definitely. And actually, people are ordering arroz caldo a lot right now, and I think because it's winter, it's really like comforting. So
And I see your editorial skills come out there with a photo shoot, right?
we have okay. So
Product
that
shots.
yeah. Oh, my boyfriend's watching.
Nice.
Hi, Jun.
What's up, good?
So we have the restaurant facade is green, and for some reason, like it looks so nice. Like the food looks so nice on that wall. So we go out like around 3 p.m. Like when the sun is like kind of not so high anymore. We take all our food shots there. So all the nice food shots you see with the green background are just outside the restaurant.
And that's just you shooting it like on your phone,
Yeah,
or
with my phone.
nice.
Yeah,
You can't take the editor out of Erica.
you know.
You were still checking the copy, remember when it came out? And
I was.
on the post and you were sending it to me. You're like, sorry, I'm still copy editing.
Yeah, when I first read it, I was like inquiring. Remember?
No, but that's your experience. It's like a decade of you working in media, right? So it's hard for you to, let that go. And you just incorporate that into marketing for your brand.
Yeah. I actually think you asked me earlier, like, what did I bring from my old career to this? Is like all of this, like the social media aspect of it, the marketing and stuff like that. Nobody is doing this for me. I'm doing this all on my own. Pictures, like witty captions, like everything. Like I'm always thinking, what can I write that sounds. I mean, that's one thing in my old career that I felt I was good at. I was good at like kind of like coming up with like taglines and like stuff like that. So I still do it for my Reina brand. And when I do like my vacuum packed meals, like I give them a little like instruction sheet and I make it cute, like not just do this second step. It's like step 3, pour yourself some wine and have a drink while you're cooking, like stuff like that. Like I try to make it fun for people still because even if it's like work for me, I still want this to feel like I'm just playing all the time. So when people are eating my food or like having to do the final steps of cooking at home, I want them to have fun. Like people should have fun cooking. It shouldn't be like, I have to cook. Like I find that during like the lockdown, during COVID, all these people who have never been to the kitchen in their lives have suddenly started cooking. And they see like how fun it can be. And they're so proud of themselves when they like create this dish, or even if it's just exactly following a recipe. Like, I don't care. Like, you're making something. You're making something that people are enjoying. And I think food should be like that.
And I love that about you because you've always had fun. Like when I was growing up, I remember going to your house, and do you remember that time when you were making chocolate bacon and that's all you were doing? And all you
I made you a cake, remember, for your birthday with like chocolate bacon all over it.
Guys, I turned 22 years old, and then Erica came to the radio station at the time, and she gave me this whole birthday cake that was made, like, it was a cake, and then on top of it was all, like, chocolate bacon, and it was, like, the best birthday cake ever. And I remember when I would go to Erica's house, and she'd be, like, cooking it and making it and frying the bacon and everything, and you've had, like, a glass of wine beside you always.
Or tanduay and Coke.
Tanduay, Coke. Like, those are like fond memories of you, And if we would go to an event and everyone would be so serious, and then you'd be like, let's eat, right? Like, we would always have like a little adventure on the side, and you'd always have a way to have fun in everything from the kitchen to the event. And like hearing you now and you talk about what you're doing now, I see like you brought that element too, right? Just like having fun with things. And I love that, and I love seeing you happy.
Thank you. Well, I think, you have to be. Like, my whole thing right now is if you're not having fun or if you don't love it or if there's no value to you in what you're doing, why are you doing it? I understand that for some people, that's a very like privileged thing to say. For some people, like, there's no choice. Um, and I know I'm very lucky that I did have that choice and I still have that choice. But I'm I like having fun. I feel like, like I've had depressive episodes in my life, and I feel like I don't want to say wasted time, but like there have been pockets in my life where it just didn't, like, life felt like it had no meaning. So I do need to have fun in everything I'm doing. Otherwise, why did I switch from this career to this if I'm just going to be miserable every single day? Um, so I
I
think,
V exactly said the same thing earlier. Like she's like, I just want to have fun, dude. About another conversation. Like, I mean, I can see you guys are cousins, and yeah, I completely agree that like it's about a balance, and you can't just be miserable all the time. You have to also enjoy what you do.
yeah, I mean, it's work. There are days when I'm just like so tired, like physically. Like, June, if you're still listening, like he sees this the most. He sees this side of me the most, where I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm so tired. But it's like a baby when they're really tired or really hungry and they just start crying. It's exactly the same. It's such a primal like reflex to just be like, and then you get some rest. He puts some food on the table and a glass of wine, and then 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm fine again.
We really are cousins. You just cry, you have a glass of wine, and then you're fine.
Yeah, I'm super easy like that. I'm so easy and predictable. So you know already like how to fix me when I seem broken.
Good chicken, good food. I just want to have fun. Let's not be so serious. But you make
Yeah.
dope work, right? Like you
Sorry.
still you make dope work. Like your work is still something you're proud of. So
Yeah.
I think that's something. A lot of people were kind of reflecting on during the pandemic. Also, they're like, "What am I doing? And am I having fun? And what's this all for?" So there's a lot of like consciousness shifts happening in the past year.
Yeah, and I think more people are putting themselves in what they're doing. I
Nice.
don't think you should separate yourself so much from your work because it's I mean, ah I didn't mean it like that. You should be able to separate yourself from your work. But if you're working on like a startup thing like I am, like this is me. I'm not employed by someone. I'm not part of a big company. It's like you should put some of your personality in what you're doing. Like I personally answer every single person who messages me on my Reina account. And it's not some like template like response.
It's not like
It's
thank you for your order.
It's not a
yeah.
robot, basically.
It's like, like there's days when the driver comes late and it's a shit show and everyone's orders are late and I literally message them, I'm so sorry, I'm so stressed this morning, your order's gonna be late. Like, I'm sorry, but it's the way it is. I find that COVID is making people a lot more understanding. Like, there are so many things that are beyond our control right now. And that's one thing COVID is teaching me. I don't want to say taught me because I'm still learning, is that I can't control everything. And when I try, I am just pissed off all the time. So most of the time, like, I figure out, okay, what can I control? And the things that I can't, okay, what do I do about it? Do I just like let it go? Do I try to find a solution? And like, so I've become a lot more patient, and I am patient, but like just not so much of a control freak about everything anymore. Because you can't be. There's no point in trying to control everything right now.
Nice. I resonate with you on so many levels. The control part.
Yeah.
So let's kind of, I know there's a lot of things uncertain right now in our current time, But if you can think about your future plans, what are some of the plans that come to mind?
Well, last year I wanted to open a small space already here, but then COVID happened, so we kind of put that on the shelf. And then I was still able to do a lot of pop-ups last year because we were on and off, open and closed last year until October. So even the whole of October, I was doing a pop-up, and then I found this space. So for the next 2 months, I'm actually gonna be here um, at this space. People in Paris, it's called Muscovado. It's in the 11th. Um, but you can follow Reina. We'll be here doing deliveries until at least April. And then after that, we'll see. I mean, supposedly restaurants are going to start opening again after Easter. We're waiting for that. Um, Maybe for the next few months, I'm going to continue doing pop ups, but I still really do want a space of my own. You know, sometimes like it's like moving to a new apartment every time. You get used to a kitchen. Even kitchens that are not that great, but you get used to it. You get used to working around it. And then a month later, you have to leave it. And you're just like, man, I have to get used to another kitchen again. So I do want my own space. I want something that's just mine that I don't have to keep leaving. And I am taking my time, but it's the final goal in the end because it's something that's very personal to me. It's not just a business. So I want it to be exactly how I want it. I'm going to be putting a lot of myself, time, effort, everything into it. You know, I'm going to be one of those chefs that own the restaurant and are there every single day cooking for people. Like that's what I want to do. So that's in the plan, but taking my time. I also want to do more stuff in the Philippines. Just pop ups,
Like,
like for a week, a residency for a month somewhere.
Oh, dude,
Maybe.
we can invite. We can be the PR.
Yeah, for sure.
We can do the guest list.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like once everything's good and like we can move around again, it's something that I want to do. I was supposed to do something with Jenny last year.
Yeah.
I saw her in Rockwell and she
sorry,
was like,
Jenny, who?
Irgassi.
okay.
Swaggy.
Or Swaggy,
And
sorry.
because she said she was doing that thing in Poblacion. And she's like, let's do something. And that was February. And I was like, and honestly, in February, when COVID was just starting, we were just like, it's just one of those things. In 2 months, it's going to be gone. So we were planning for May for me to come back to Manila. Obviously, that never happened. But it's still something that I would love to do. I would love to even spend a month doing a residency in Boracay. Like, I want to be at the beach, like just cooking. Um, there's already some people like in other parts of France that have contacted me, to do pop-ups when things get better. So there's this one group in Strasbourg, which is in the east, closer to Germany, that do like a street food festival every year. And, like we met when I was there last summer and they were messaging me. They're like, oh, we're just waiting for things to finish. We want to do something with you over here in Strasbourg. So I'm kind of like wanting to just be a traveling chef at the moment with the final goal being to open my own space at some point.
When you come back here to the Philippines, is there any learnings that you got from there in Paris that you could bring back here that you didn't have before?
Yes, one thing that I love about cooking here or the food culture here in general, not just for cooks, but even for people, is that things are very seasonal. So you get the best of every ingredient. Like you would never use strawberries. Like you would actually kind of be like, if you went to a restaurant with strawberries on the menu at this time, you'd be like, why are they using strawberries? Like that means it came from somewhere else. It's not at its peak. It's not going to be that good. So people like right now, everything is about oranges, clementines, apples, like everything that's in season right now. So I think, even the way I do French Filipino, I call it seasonal Filipino food because it's such a contradiction. We have no seasonal food. Like we have one season. Everything's available year round or we import it from somewhere. So over here, I'm able to do the seasonal Filipino. Like I will use vegetables that we don't usually have in the Philippines in my Filipino recipes. Like I did a pork belly adobo with fennel and pomegranate, like things like that.
It's crazy.
you wouldn't have in, you wouldn't be able to find in the Philippines. So I think, since like I can't bring back seasonal because we don't have seasons, I think the importance of like knowing your where you get your food, where you source your food, like working with small farmers and working with like, I guess maybe like organic farmers, if there are any in the Philippines, is important. Like just to know that you get the best ingredients that you can find. I think that's one thing that I learned over here that I am super grateful for. Uh, that kind of mentality when you're cooking, and also, I guess, being very thorough in what you're doing. Like you can be doing street food, you can be doing comfort food, but there's still a technique to it. It's not just putting things together and like leaving it there. It's like a lot of thought goes into presentation over here. Um, I find that, like you could have as like something that my grandma used to make, or something you find in a roadside canteen in the Philippines. If you make it a certain way and plate it like nicely, you could easily sell it for like 25 euros. And a
Yeah.
lot of like good chefs I know do that. They take things from their childhood, they take things from the streets of where they're from, and use the techniques they know of French cuisine, and then make it look pretty on a plate. And, you know, like things like that, I think that I learned here that I really appreciate. So, yeah.
So, so we have to we have to wrap up in a few minutes.
No, no, just kidding.
And now we're gonna have a live demonstration of Erica cooking.
No.
Camera pan. If you could give an advice for startups, what would it be?
Um, don't be afraid to work. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to put yourself in it. Also, you're probably never going to sleep for at least a couple of years, and it's okay. And in the first couple of years, you feel like it's not going anywhere, and it's also okay. I realized that those years when, or that time when you feel like it's not going anywhere, or you feel like you're trying so hard, but like you're moving like at a snail's pace, are the days when things are happening. That's the time when things are happening. So the time when you get recognition, or when you get people noticing you, that's because you've done all of that shit already. And it's crazy because like you read that all the time. Like people who have succeeded, or like entrepreneurs where, or you see those like things on Instagram where what people see, what actually happens. Like you've seen those, right? It's crazy because I feel that like completely. It's like people don't see, like my hands shaking because I'm chopping like 20 kilos of something. All they see is like the finished product, and it's good and whatever. So it's just like you need to, like, first, people starting their own businesses, you're gonna have to do so many things on your own. I mean, if you have enough money to hire people, then great. But I personally think that you should start hiring people when you're already set the foundation for yourself. Because when you're trying to figure yourself out and you're already hiring people, like, how are you going to teach them their roles in the company if you don't even know where your company is going? And to be honest, Reina has changed, has evolved in so many ways in the last few years. I wasn't even called Reina until a year and a half ago. I used to have another name for my supper clubs, and it became Reina when I wanted to really establish myself as a Filipino chef working in Paris, using French produce, but a lot of like Filipino flavors. Like if you look at my Reina Instagram, it says French trained Filipino flavor. Like that's what it is. And I was like, I want something that is Filipino. Um, and also it's a tribute to my grandmother, actually. Her name wasn't Reina, but you know how like moms and grandmas in Asian or Filipino families are like almost like goddesses. They're like the
Yes.
queens of the family. So it's you know, it's not, I'm not calling myself Reina. It's like all the Reinas before me. This is like my whole kind of like thank you to them for kind of
It's
paving the way for me to be here
it's a
and
tribute.
represent.
It's like a tribute to your lineage.
Exactly, exactly. And like all women who have come before me that have just, like done things for themselves and have been unafraid because they super inspire me when I'm afraid, you know? I'm just like, I'm not the first to do this and I'm not going to be the last. So I want to be like, as a woman and as a Filipino woman in another country, be part of that line of people that somebody else can look up to, maybe as well. Like someone younger than me can also look up to because I have people that I look up to.
That's dope.
So,
I have one last question.
mhm.
This is actually from our team. They asked me earlier if you can talk a little bit about your tattoos.
Oh, okay.
Specifically from our team. They're like, oh, can she talk about her tattoos? We see she has so much.
Yeah, well, you can't really see them. I
Yeah.
have like some on my arms.
Yeah. You have a sleeve too,
And
right?
then here, yeah, but like I'm wearing like 5 layers of clothes, so I can't show you my tats right now. What do you want to know about my tats?
Well, what's your most memorable tat?
Most memorable, probably the sleeve that I have. It's my biggest, I'm not sure, it's one of my biggest ones, but it's because my sister drew it. My sister's an artist, and she drew the whole thing for me. And the tattoo artist, I mean, he made a few changes just because, like, when something's flat, it's different from when it's like wrapped around. So he had to change it a little bit. But it's something my sister drew for me, like in her early art days. So, and another one is this. I don't know if you can see it. It says love, patience, priority. And this is my daughter's handwriting when she was 6. She's
Nice.
16 now. So this also is like super important to me. She was so mad at me that day because I gave her a piece of paper and I was like, okay, write these words. She kept writing like 10 times. And I was like, no, write it again. It's not nice enough. And she's like, but mom, I thought you wanted my handwriting. I was like, yeah, but I want like the best version of your handwriting because it's going to be on me forever. And then funny thing is, I went to the tattoo shop, gave it to the guy. I was like, I want this. So he like puts it down on the thing, and he makes it so nice. I'm like, why does it look like this? He's like, no, I made the handwriting better. I was like, no, I don't want your handwriting. I want my daughter's handwriting. Bring it back.
Oh, so thank you so much. I don't know how to transition from
I know.
that. How do we close this, Brett?
Oh, well, first of all, I just have to say thank you again. We know you're busy doing 15-hour shifts, so
Oh, it's crazy.
very important for us to get an hour of your time. We appreciate
Yeah.
you sharing everything that you did today. It was very interesting to learn about your story from all the way here in Manila to you doing it up the best you can and making a lot of people proud over in here while you're there in Paris. So yeah,
Thanks
just
for
thank
having
you
me.
for sharing.
Yeah, like it's crazy because like I used to see you guys like out all the time, and here we are
At the
talking
club.
about our lives. Yeah, I know.
And
So it's nice. Thanks for inviting me. Like I had a good time. Like at first I was like, fuck, I might not have time because I'm in the middle of like lunch and then having to prep for dinner. But I was like, no, I want to do it. So it's nice.
yeah, and I want I got to see. I remember when this happened. I went to visit you in 2016.
Yeah, where you
Disclaimer.
like slept the whole time. She literally slept the entire time for 48 hours. I saw her for like an hour.
The real truth.
Yeah. She slept over so I could see her, but like
Sleep, see her sleep.
But I was there.
you were here.
I was still there. I went to visit you. I was just sleeping in your apartment. And then I went out once, and then I thought there was a ghost in her apartment. There was just so much going on. That
Yeah,
trip.
so I lived on the 4th floor with an elevator. First of all, she didn't take the elevator. She walked up the stairs. There's light switches on every floor. She did not turn on the light switches. She's like, I had to walk in the dark, and I was like, You could just turn on the light.
So
This is Vicky being Vicky, though.
yeah, it's moving. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. But one of the cool things is that I actually saw you in that transition, like when your classmates came over and you were cooking at the house, and I could already see the roots of you building community in Paris, right? And it's so nice to see how far you've come, what you're doing, and seeing how happy you are, because 5 years is a long time, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Like-
It feels like not, but then when you think about it, it's enough time to like be building something, and feel like home now is like when I say I'm going home and I'm here, I mean Manila. But when I'm in Manila, sometimes I miss things about it. I'm like, I want to go home already. And I mean Paris. And it's weird like how you have these two parts of yourself in two different places.
Yeah, and those 5 years in Paris, it's like, yeah, all I saw was you really started building your community there, your roots there, and really finding not just like your place there, but your soul seemed to come more alive there. And it's nice to see your story and your journey. And I think that was really important, because what part of our intentions were for this live stream was to also show global stories of Filipinos or Filipinas from other places and tell that story here in the Philippines, right? And like I said earlier, a lot of people know you from what you did before in your past life, but we also wanted to show what you're doing now, right? And how your life has changed. And you're still Erica, but this is the next chapter, right?
It's like version, not even version 2. It's just step 100. Like getting to the goal.
And to show those evolutions of people's stories is so important. You're still the same in the sense that, I know how crazy you are and how you're still having fun, but we just love seeing how you're progressing. So I just wanted to thank you again for coming to our show on live stream.
Thanks for having me. No, I really I had fun. It's nice. And it's a nice break because like earlier, like I posted on my Instagram, I was like, I haven't been like interviewed since I left Manila, and I'm gonna be so awkward and weird, and it was nice. I think I would have been more awkward if I didn't know you guys. Like if you guys were complete strangers, I would be like,
yeah, it would be the different like, we need to be formal.
There'd be different answers probably for sure.
Yeah,
too.
most likely.
There'd be less drunk conversation. But
you're the only drunk one here. I'm not drunk.
Hey, I don't want half a drink. Just keeping it real.
We'll all drink next time together.
Yeah. So next time we'll drink and we'll do this in French.
I can't do that.
Wait.
When you're drunk, you probably could.
C'est bon?
So thank you all who's watching. Thank you for spending time with us on a Friday night here in Manila, Philippines. If you're watching from Paris, it's Friday afternoon there. And you, I don't know the time, Erica, fill it in.
It's 3 p.m.
All right, 3 p.m. We'll be back again next week with another guest here but he's here from the Philippines. You can see us from 9 to 9:45 or maybe 10 if the conversation.
It's like 10:15 now.
I know. Whatever, guys. Whatever. Let's let it go.
Wait, what are you saying? I'm not the guest next week again?
Well, you didn't announce it.
I'm just kidding.
No, we didn't.
Okay, we didn't announce. Okay, Erica, you know the guest, but yeah, if you want to chill, Ike's, just let us know. But next week we're gonna have someone from the music industry, and yeah, we'll see you again. There's gonna be a part 2, Ike. There's gonna be a part 2
with drinks.
With alcohol. And so if you guys like this, feel free to follow us at Next Theory on Facebook, YouTube, and Kumu, and subscribe and follow us on all those channels. Brent?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, don't forget to follow us, and hopefully you guys learned something. And yeah, we're coming back every Friday, so keep tuned in. And
I'm taking a video of you guys.
all right, well, we need to move.
And follow Erica Paredes and Reina. Paris.
Paris.
Reina Paris.
Anyway, I'll let you guys go. We're like 30 minutes over time.
Raina
No,
got
it's all
parents.
good. I want to ask you something offline.
Okay.
Erica, just something super random.
Sure.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
La la la.